Once upon a time, in a small, hidden workshop tucked away in a quiet town, a young apprentice worked beside an old clockmaker. The shop was filled with clocks of all shapes and sizes, some tall, some small, and some so delicate that they seemed almost fragile. But there was one clock that stood out among them all, sitting on the workbench in the center of the room. It was unfinished. The apprentice had been working under the clockmaker for months, helping to build intricate timepieces, each more complex than the last. But this particular clock was different. It had no face, no hands, just a series of gears and pulleys, all meticulously connected. One day, as the apprentice worked, the clockmaker approached him with a gleam in his eye. "Today is the day, my boy," the clockmaker said. "This clock will be finished." The apprentice looked at the clock with wide eyes. "But it doesn't have a face or hands. How will it tell time?" "Ah," the clockmaker replied with a knowing smile. "This clock is special. It will be able to stop time itself." The apprentice blinked. "Stop time? Is that even possible?" The clockmaker nodded slowly. "Time is the one thing we can never control, but perhaps we can create something that allows us to pause it just for a moment." They worked together in silence for hours, finishing the final touches. When the clock was complete, the apprentice stepped back, admiring the beauty of the mechanism. He felt a strange anticipation, wondering if the clock would work as promised. The clockmaker, with a twinkle in his eye, nodded at the apprentice. "Now, turn the gears. Let's see if it works." With trembling hands, the apprentice carefully turned the gears, waiting for the moment when everything would stop. But as the last gear clicked into place, nothing happened. The room was still, the clocks ticking as they always had. The apprentice looked at the clockmaker, confused. It didn't work. It didn't stop time. The clockmaker smiled softly, placing a hand on the apprentice's shoulder. "Time cannot be stopped, my boy. It can only be lived. No clock, no matter how intricate, can control the flow of time. But what we can do is embrace it, cherish it, and live fully in each moment." The apprentice stood in stunned silence, realizing that the clockmaker was right. The clock had been a symbol of his desire to control time, but now he understood that the only way to experience life was to let go of that control. From that day forward, the apprentice no longer tried to manipulate time. Instead, he focused on making the most of each moment, understanding that time's true beauty was in its passage, not its stagnation.